Welcome back, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. My name is Pritesh with KAIZN Crypto. Joining me in this interview is the Summon platform team, also led by founding members of the ADAO project, an on-chain governance platform built on Cardano. So, gentlemen, really excited to be talking to you all here today. How are you all doing?
I'll go first. I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, same. It's great to talk to you again, and definitely excited to be recording this time.
Absolutely. It's always fun to get together.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, we'll go ahead and get started with some introductions. Joining me is Riley, Adam, got TCT, and Tommy. So I guess we'll just go ahead and start for the community who might not be familiar with you guys. Let us know a little bit about yourself. As we mentioned in the introduction, you guys are also the founding members of the ADAO platform. So tell us a little bit about that, maybe what got you started in crypto. We're going to go into a lot of things in this conversation today. Riley, I know you said this time we're recording, last time we were talking, there were so many great bits of information. So we'll go ahead and see if we can get all that covered in this conversation. But yeah, Riley, do you want to go ahead and get us started? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background within the ADAO project and now in Summon platform.
Yeah, so I actually graduated a couple of years back from the University of Washington with my degree in computer science and mathematics. And then I was just kind of working, regular software engineering jobs for a couple of years. And I got really interested in Plutus prior to the Alonzo hard fork. And prior to it going out on testnet even, I started playing around with Plutus, I guess almost 15 months ago. And it just really intrigued me. I was already really interested in Cardano. And so I followed along with the Plutus Pioneers program. And afterwards, I was like building a lot of stuff, just kind of trying stuff out, doing stuff on my own, but I definitely didn't have any project ideas for the most part that were tangible at the time. And so I just kind of stagnated. I thought about applying to a couple of jobs, but then I actually met Tom, TCT, and he invited me to be a part of ADAO. And so it really excited me to be a part of the first DAO on Cardano, and helping put that on chain is sort of one of the early contributions I had to that. And since then, it's just been, kind of constant progress, both educating others within the space and also trying to educate ourselves to be more effective.
Very
cool. And then I guess, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And I guess to kind of touch on the Summon platform a little bit, it's kind of a commercialization of all of the work that we've been doing. We're still going to be open sourcing the Summon platform sort of piece by piece over time, always leaving the sort of newest stuff proprietary, I would think. But that's a platform that will allow for people to access a wide range of DeFi integrations, but also create and manage their own DAOs and have their DAOs be able to access DeFi in a trustless manner, so they don't have to delegate the sort of DeFi responsibilities to one person within their organization. Yeah, that's kind of to give a brief synopsis of what the past years looked like.
Sure. Yeah. So you got a bit of a technical background there. So I'm going to have some questions for you there, man. But thanks for the introduction. Adam, how you doing today, brother? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Doing great. Yeah. So I got involved with ADAO probably a couple of days after Riley did, I think. I've been involved with Cardano since very end of 2017, beginning of 2018. I was in graduate school. I have a background in information science and education policy. And I was looking at blockchain projects and found Cardano, stood out as that academic rigor in the first principles of how the blockchain is being built. So of course that triggered my biases, and the more I looked into it, the more I liked about what was going on, how it was being approached and thought about. So I was, just sort of following this for a long time, and I was active with my local blockchain groups. But about a year ago, I wanted to get more involved with Cardano. I wanted to find a way that I could build something like Cardano. And I'm not a coder myself, but I do have a good understanding of what's out there and how people work with technology. So I started, interacting with a lot of groups, getting on Twitter Spaces, and that's when I ran into these guys in ADAO. And we started talking about, what are the social ramifications of being part of a group like this? How do people interact together? What does it mean when you start removing agents from the middle of organizations, replacing them with algorithms, so you can have this radical way of allowing people to just sort of, vote on proposals and without having, with having a trustless way of having them executed. And I was hooked. This is all the, I've studied online groups for a long time, and I've studied technology for a long time, and this is online groups and technology, melding together in a really unique way. So I got involved. I wrote the ADAO Constitution, did some consulting with LexDAO, the legal expert DAO, and yeah, and sort of went from there. When we started talking about doing Summon, I obviously wanted to be a part of that too. So here I am.
Very cool. Wow. A constitution for a decentralized form of governance. That's got to be an interesting thought process that went behind that.
Yeah, the LexDAO guys have really thought through a lot of this. They've, DAOs have a kind of a head start on us in Ethereum because they've had the tools longer than we have. But the good news is that Cardano has such an infrastructure advantage that as we get our ecosystems up and running, I think that Cardano is going to just do a lot of things that are going to surprise the rest of the crypto world, we'll say.
For sure.
The guys and gals over at LexDAO have put a lot of thought into how do we consider this legal engineering and policy engineering of organization when you don't have like an executive, when instead the algorithm is the executive, and how do you think about a community in that way, and sort of setting up like ways for the communities to get their input and ways for the communities to recognize who the other members of the community are. So we really just want to put all of our aspirations into that.
Okay, very, very cool. Awesome. Thanks for that introduction, man. Tom, TCT, what's up, man? Welcome to the channel.
Hey, yeah, thank you. And I love how they say I invited them. Really what I did was incessantly babble and get them as obsessed as I was with, how do we build DAOs on Cardano, right? Like Adam said, this robust infrastructure has been there, but a lot of these user-facing protocols, interfaces, and easy tooling was not. So yeah, finding passionate people to, put all this effort towards something that, is open source and is for everyone, has been amazing. And that's how it started. ADAO started very organically. It emerged from Cardano. And I feel that's very similar to what happened with Summon, right? All this open source tooling and infrastructure, like Riley said, is great. And we want to continue incentivizing that, right? So that's where the Summon platform comes in, not only making it easier for groups to govern and create DAOs, like Riley said, access other protocols, but to make that, like I said, reachable and obtainable for every user, whether they're coming from Ethereum, other blockchains, or, Cardano. So it's exciting.
Yeah, that's, I'm glad you mentioned that there, Tom, because it's really important to not have this focus of this one chain, right? Only building on Cardano. It's so important that we've got the interoperability of being able to talk to different platforms as well. So yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. Thanks so much for that introduction. And lastly, Tommy, welcome to the channel, man. How are you doing today?
Hey, KAIZN, yeah, thank you for having me and having us, actually. And my name's known as Tommy Crypto, also known as Thomas Yoon. But yeah, thank you for having us. And I've been part of ADAO since its inception. And currently I'm helping more at Summon Labs as the operations director there, or kind of operations management. What that kind of means is kind of on the day-to-day, just really helping with the day-to-day operations, whether that's kind of reviewing Discord, social media, providing resources when there's questions, and kind of just doing helping out with the various things that we're working on currently, whether it be the different articles, kind of going through them, providing feedback, providing trying to help and provide insight when they're a little bit too technical. So kind of bridge that gap. But in addition to that, it's trying to be a part of the community and really listening to the needs of the community and also the needs of within our own group, kind of doing my best to kind of listen to the needs of or just trying to maximize the diversity within our group and how we do things and try to manage in a way that we kind of get away from the more traditional hierarchical type systems and kind of the silo type systems to more of these collaborative type models. But yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, my pleasure. I think that we got a great group here today, guys. And the topic, I think, is very pertinent. As we've seen the growth of Catalyst, even some of Charles's latest videos for our community, I'm sure watching some of his latest updates talking about the governance that we have, of course, in our traditional political system. I think that what you guys are building and thinking about is very important. Decentralized governance, probably one of the hardest problems to solve as it comes to decentralization and blockchain. So I wanted to go ahead and start with just some high-level questions, and I guess we can dig a little bit deeper as we get into it. So tell us a little bit about ADAO. So this is a decentralized governance platform on Cardano. I guess in a nutshell, just explain what makes this project different from any other of the DAOs out there. What's the ethos behind the project, and also some of the technical things that you guys have had to think about.
Yeah, I'll probably start if that's okay with everybody, and then I might hand it over to TCT. But you know, ADAO is pretty unique in that we're not really offering something for people to purchase. In ADAO, we write a lot of open source code. We have over 40 different open source repositories that people can come and use for whatever they see fit, you know, take the code and go commercialize it if they want to. There's a couple different groups that are modifying our staking platform right now for their own purposes. We open sourced our staking platform. And we have a multi-signature wallet Dapp that people can use. And again, sort of all of this stuff is just open source, free software that we wanted to put out. And we incentivize all of that with our own governance tokens. So by completing bounties, whether they're technical bounties or bounties that are more, say, operations based or marketing based or academic, any sort of contributions to ADAO can make someone eligible to earn ADAO tokens. And we have just been consistently pushing forward this open source ethos since the beginning. Not only an open source ethos, but one of education, because I think it's not just myself, but all of us. I speak for all of us, I think, when I say education is very important and one of our top priorities.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons we're on this call, right? I think that just helping to educate and bring in more people and I guess help to gain awareness about what you guys are building. And one thing I do have to really commend you guys on is that you're making everything that you're building open source. That's so huge, right? Like you're really following that Cardano ethos and the vision that they have of making all this technology, all this academic research, you know, with Cardano, they've got all these papers, right? Making that open and available for the community. And I really love to see that from your project as well.
Yeah, and then I'll jump in for a second and say, you know, that's absolutely always been the ethos of ADAO is the place for open source. And when that's part of why, you know, we're launching Summit is because there are some things that you can't use a traditional DAO for. So if you want to have a DAO run a platform, well, who's going to have, you know, who's going to rent the servers? Who's going to sign the contracts? You have to start having a legal representative for that. And that gets pretty complicated. So we decided that that's where someone would come in as a separate project. So ADAO could continue to be this pure on-chain DAO that is open source, that doesn't sell tokens, doesn't sign contracts in the physical world. It's just focused on being the best development group that it can be. But then Summon can do that, sort of that middleware of taking these open source codes and putting it in a nice package for people to use. Now, obviously with Summon, there will be some things that are proprietary, just like how there are some wallets on Cardano that don't have all their things open source. You still know you still know that the blockchain is open source and that all the underlying parts are open source. Just that certain things certain parts of the platform won't be, but people are always free to use other parts of the platform as well, and other providers.
Yeah, and if I may, because briefly, I'll try to be brief. So back when we all met, right, and I'm babbling about building DAOs on Cardano, and Riley's all excited. He's like, Plutus is amazing, and Adam's like, this is what I'm studying. I think there was about 8 of us, right? And so it was very simple to discuss everything, come to consensus, and just do it. But we quickly started gaining a lot more contributors. I think the Discord's over 3,000 now. And the meetings we'll hold open meetings every week, twice a week. There's like dozens of people in them. So, very quickly we realized we need a governance system. We need structure. So we minted from a Plutus contract, 100 million ADAO tokens, and those are governed by the contract. And that's what we pay out for open source contributions to ADAO. So like Riley said, these teams, developers, people from within ADAO do everything from develop open source software, translate things like the ADAO constitution or Medium articles, and in return, they get paid out ownership or governance over ADAO to continue, directing the policy and directing, what we pay bounties out for and what is needed for not only ADAO, but for DAOs to thrive on Cardano. So yeah, it's turned into something that's just far beyond my wildest dreams. And I'm really proud. I'm really proud of everybody here and everybody, in the whole community. Like I said, there's 3,000 members in there now. So, having the ability to now construct this model, and I'm sure Adam can explain it really well and in depth, that, like he said, we can leverage these legal entities to continue keeping ADAO an open source community that just develops for Cardano DAOs and the whole ecosystem, really.
Tommy, did you want to add anything to that, or?
No, I think the guys did a pretty good job describing it. On a higher level, we've been describing kind of ADAO as kind of like the Cardano Foundation, and then with the Summon platform is more that kind of commercialization of Emergo IOG type relationship or type of model. But that's one of the ways that we've been describing it to individuals to kind of outline how to think about it.
Yeah, and to add to that, what I was going to say is basically, with regards to the Summon Association, which is sort of overseeing development of the Summon platform, individuals, whether they are from a legal representation standpoint, a DAO or a person, as long as they're able to have sort of legal personhood in Switzerland, they can have a seat at the Summon Association assembly meetings, and so they're recognized by this association, and they're able to be sort of voicing their opinions. And the reason that I wanted to bring this up and that it's relevant is because ADAO is actually going to be able to partake in having its own representative for these meetings to sort of voice its opinion with its own tokens and how the platform is developed and where the platform goes. And I think that having more and more things that ADAO is sort of taking responsibility for, and having these patterns for others to follow, for example, with a foundation using its own representative to then partake in governance of other organizations within this sort of legal system. It's really cool, not only from a pragmatic standpoint to be able to potentially offer guidance for others around these things, but also just navigating, working within a decentralized ecosystem, and also interfacing with all of the legal systems in the traditional world. I think that we're actually doing a lot of novel things here, and I'm just really excited about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is really cool. Adam, you had actually mentioned the idea of the Constitution, and I guess a question that I have, and Riley, you had even said like you're going to have a official or elected body that's going to represent the Summon platform at these conferences. So like, how would something like that work exactly? Is that part of the written documentation within the Constitution? Is that going to be something that ADAO token holders will vote on? Explain to us a little bit about how the whole process in terms of the documentation and the content and even like the in-person stuff, like how does that all come to place?
Absolutely.
And oh, sorry, Adam. I was just gonna add before you get into it, because I do want you to take this. But just to be clear, ADAO will have a representative at the Summon Association and not vice versa. Is sort of just to be clear.
Sure.
Yeah. So when we started ADAO, we were looking at what's the best way that we can have some sort of legal representation, legal protection if we need it. So we've actually put in the Constitution the option of establishing an ADAO foundation. And the purpose of the foundation would be to serve the on-chain DAO. And it wouldn't be something that would control the on-chain DAO. It would actually be something where the members of the on-chain DAO would tell the legal foundation what to do. So we started looking into how to establish this foundation, and we've got a pretty good idea of how we're going to do that. And we have that in the works, and it's kind of been put on hold, quite frankly, while we have also started setting up Summon, because we started a very similar model for Summon. It's what a lot of projects do, which is kind of a nonprofit, like Cardano Foundation style entity, and a for-profit and developer entity. So so what's going to happen is we have the Summon Association, and the Summon Association is in charge of owning the brand of the Summon platform and directing its development to make sure that it is being developed and carrying out the wishes of the users on that platform, so that it will continue to serve people to advance DAO infrastructure tooling and techniques. The association is registered in Switzerland. It's being registered in Switzerland, and it is already set up. We have directors, we have a board, and it's all, and one of the things that we have is the ability to recognize people for the assembly. That can be either people who are very involved with the projects and holders of Summon tokens, or people who are going to be representatives of groups that hold Summon tokens. So upon one of the agreements we have upon making the association is we are giving a grant of a significant portion of our tokens for the association to ADAO, because Summon is coming from ADAO and utilizing ADAO. We want to have a very close relationship. And by granting the tokens to ADAO, we will be giving ADAO, basically, we're also going to recognize ADAO as a member of the assembly that can vote, help choose how this organization is run, this real world organization is run, and how the platform also is managed. And so that gets back then to the ADAO Foundation. We're going to use the Summon Association also to recognize the ADAO Foundation as the legitimate voice of the ADAO membership. So when the ADAO membership then comes and votes for the ADAO Foundation to have its members and the ADAO Foundation representative to Summon, it's all controlled by the DAO. So it becomes this very interesting model.
It's like Inception. It's like a DAO
Yeah,
within
it
a
is
DAO.
kind of like, but it's a matter of, we wanted to say, like, we want there to be little, like little hierarchies inside of hierarchies, right? We
Right.
don't want this to just be that it's a free for all in the platform where everybody in the platform can try to say what happens, and that's the final word. We want to have like different people be able to form DAOs on the platform and say like, hey, we'd like to have our DAO represented as part of the coalition of DAOs that are talking about this, and have a seat at the assembly. And while there
Gotcha.
will be certain parameters that are controlled directly by people staked in the platform, there's going to be other things that come down to, well, what about, we need to have a meeting of all the representatives of people who are of organizations and people who are really invested in this platform. Like, what if we need to move to a new governance contract? What if we need to change something up? And so that's going to be where we then have these DAOs able to have their own way of recognizing people, because not every DAO is going to be run the same. Some DAOs might say one token, one vote. Other DAOs might say one person, one vote. And we want each DAO to be able to also have a part of the governance in addition. So it's something that we're trying to work on and figure out.
Okay,
And
that's really interesting.
and if I may, KAIZN, so there was recently an interview, a written interview with all of us, and something that just stood out to me, and I made a tweet about this on Twitter. I'll make sure you have the link to the interview. It was something that Matthew Bowen said. Matthew Bowen is a part of our team. He's also our U.S. General Counsel for Summon and a core contributor to ADAO. He said, "This is a kind of model that we've never really seen before, that a DAO would have representation in an actual physical organization." And to me, that's sort of my dream, right? Like, how do we, DAOs are very powerful, but, like Adam was saying, they also have a lot of limitations because there's so much legal gray area. They don't have CEOs or corporations that can sign documents. So to see this sort of novel model being built really excites me, and it makes me believe that DAOs are going to be able to start to reach their full potential.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was really well said. I think it is a really novel thing that you guys are working on. Some of the things that come to my mind with this are just, if we think about all the various DeFi projects that are building on Cardano, there's going to be some inherent utility with their token as it comes to governance. And to be able to use the Summon platform to link together all these different protocols. And then, you've got the ADAO project that's kind of the underlying base layer of this bigger DAO, so to speak. I think it's really cool that you guys are finding a way to bridge all these projects together.
Right.
Yeah.
We see all these projects launching, right? And I'm sorry, Riley, but we see all these projects launching. And one of the biggest, promises of these projects are they're user-owned, right? Users, holders can direct policy, direct the actual parameters. And, it takes a lot more than just voting to do that. It takes these smart contracts that Riley's very familiar with to actually enable the execution of the outcome of these votes, right? So being able to submit effects is what we call them, with proposals to then be automatically executed, I think is just something that is huge, like you said, and all these projects and protocols need. So yeah, we're hoping to bridge that and make that easy.
Yeah, and I was gonna say on the topic of sort of bridging concepts and hopefully not offering bridges between chains, if we're gonna do that, probably look at other options. Don't want to be liable for that stuff. But when it comes to bridging concepts, I think that, we definitely want to have not only voting, like Tom had mentioned, where, projects have this sort of on-chain smart contract vote, but also we want to have voting where it's just signature based to sort of make it so there's no fee for users, and sort of make it so that there's that option in case projects don't necessarily need the on-chain voting. But we also, apart from just using Agora, which is the first standard that Summon is going to integrate to allow for governance, we're going to be integrating a number of different standards, including some that we push out ourselves. For governance on Cardano, to allow different shapes and sizes of DAOs to operate, because there's different needs for different DAOs. And I think that Agora is best suited to sort of the types of DAOs that Tom was just mentioning, sort of protocol-driven DAOs, where you actually want to be able to influence the parameters or structure of things, maybe the source of an oracle, using on-chain governance. And then I guess another thing that I had wanted to bring up, since you had said sort of bridging concepts, is we don't just want to make it we don't just want to offer sort of a bridge for governance for projects, but also we want to bridge all of these other DeFi platforms together using our own sort of strategies or vaults to allow for automated yield aggregation and have permissionless risk management involved with that, so as to mitigate risk for users and sort of allow for people to earn yield leveraging a variety of things in the ecosystem without having to risk liquidation is generally the big one that we want to avoid. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, definitely. I do have a question about that, just kind of touching off that idea. So if you have a DeFi yield aggregator, so you're bringing in some off-chain data on-chain, or is it all completely on-chain?
Yeah, so I think the way that we would want to handle this is the only data that we're bringing in from off-chain is like the dollar to ADA ratio, and that's something that we're being provided with an oracle. Probably Charlie 3 is sort of a default to mention, right?
Yep.
They're pretty well known in the ecosystem, and I think that that's likely who we will end up leveraging for this product or set of smart contracts that are instantiated. But yeah, I mean, we have that information, that data feed for the US dollar to ADA, but other than that, everything is just on chain. And there would be some fee allowed to be collected by the sort of operation of things, specifically risk mitigation. There needs to be some incentive there for someone to take action, but we are going to be ensuring that those actions can be executed permissionlessly, so that if a user wants to be securing their own risk, they can definitely do that. And if someone else beats them to it, then I mean, they didn't lose out, right? Their risk is still mitigated. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process there.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Charlie 3, I've definitely seen them as one of the top Oracle picks for a lot of these projects. So okay, that's really interesting. And we were talking about risk mitigation. So just one more, it's kind of a technical question, but as far as like the code and the smart contracts, are there any audit companies that you guys have decided with yet, or is it still too early along in the development process?
We have we have 3 different auditing firms that we are considering, and I think that dependent upon a couple of different variables, including price and wait time, we will make a final decision sort of case by case out of those 3 firms. 2 of them are already well known within the Cardano community, Runtime Verification and Tweeg. There's
nice.
also another firm that we're talking to that is less well known within the Cardano community, but they are very familiar with Haskell and not only doing sort of like Haskell development as a firm, but also audits. So we're in talks with them, and they may end up being the pick dependent upon timelines and, like I said, costs. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good to know. I remember in one of our previous conversations, we had talked about Tweeg and like Liquid Labs, and, they had done their audit with them. So, it's great that you guys are considering them for your audit too.
Yeah. Tweeg is great. And I mean, Runtime verification is great too. There are a lot of really good auditing firms out there, and I definitely think that we are picking from some of the best.
Yeah,
One thing-
absolutely.
One thing I'll kind of mention risk mitigation, just because this is a question I've had to deal with a lot from having to work with like some of the regulatory advisors we have. We are not planning to have anything that's going to have custody of anyone's funds. We are developing smart contracts that we are allowing you to access to the platform. If you decide that you want to come to Summon and spin up a DAO, we're excited that you can come and do that. And then if you decide that you want to keep using your DAO, keep your treasury and move someplace else, or stand up your own infrastructure to do it, we're not going to stand in your way, because we do believe that you should be able to take that portion of that portion is all open source. So we're not going to try to lock that down. We're not going to try to hide that so that you can't do what you want with your DAO, because ultimately we think that people are going to be more excited to use the platform and more excited to be good DAO users if they do have that kind of power and that kind of control. So that's our that's our thing, is giving people power over their own organizations and helping them to build them up so that we can all benefit.
Yep.
Yeah,
well
and
said.
I might just add as well. It's something where I think if you were to ask nicely, you could probably even get help reproducing a lot of the functionality of the platform after launch. We definitely are very much proponents of allowing others to get our code up and running on their own infrastructure. And like I said before, we want to open source everything other than sort of whatever's the newest off-chain infrastructure at the time. And even the contracts for that will be open source, right? Whenever we're sort of ready to open source things for any given launch.
Yeah, I'll just add, Presh, like that's something that we've been kind of building, right, this past year in ADAO. The ability for other projects, DAOs, to have sovereignty over it, right? Even simple, I call it simple dApps like RoundTable, which is the multi-sig dApp. I don't know of another one that doesn't utilize some kind of centralized server to store users' data, right? And if it goes down, it's not going to be easy and sometimes not possible to regain that, right? Without the, this authority, this central authority. So building things like RoundTable in a way that the users own their data, everything is really important. I think, it's something very special about this team, about Cardano, ADAO, and I think something that we need to always promote, right? And really demand, because that's what building on blockchains, especially one like Cardano, is about. It's about being able to, have self-sovereignty and ownership over our assets and, our identities. So that's a huge thing that, can't be overlooked.
Yeah, no, absolutely, guys. Just trying to take it all in. You guys have thought about so many different things as it comes to the aspects of decentralized governance and then combining these projects. I wanted to ask you about the token a little bit. So we've got the ADAO token, and then we've also got the Summon token. If you could just explain to us a little bit about the utilities of each one of these respective tokens and how they kind of tie into each of these projects. And then also, from what I understand as well, Summon is going to be having an ISPO coming up pretty soon too. So any details in regards to that as well for the Summon token?
Yeah. With regards to the ADAO token is a governance token for ADAO, and obviously it'll be able to be used to vote on decisions for ADAO's stake in Summon, since there is a significant portion of the Summon tokens going to ADAO as a grant. But with regards to the Summon token and sort of how these DAOs are separate, because the Summon platform does have its own DAO. The Summon tokens are going to be able to be used to have a voice in the future of platform development, but also in any platform parameters and like sort of structures, fee structures within certain limits defined by the association, which again is guided by these token holders. So we're trying to make it so that there's as much value for the Summon token holders as possible. And we also wanted to remain a utility token under Swiss law. And so by offering governance as the utility for our token, we're able to sort of open the doors to additional future utility without having to have our token be considered a security, because that future utility is actually being brought into reality because of these token holders, not because of something else. And that is their utility, is their governance, their power over the platform, right? So yeah, that's sort of the differences between these tokens. And just to touch on our ISPO, because that's a great point to bring up. It actually started on August 3rd. So you can get into our ISPO right now, delegate to ADAO, that's ADAO. And if you delegate to ADAO, you'll be earning Summon tokens based on the Maladex formula, where we define the number of Summon tokens going out per epoch to be 1,000 tokens per 100,000 ADA delegated. Right now we have 1.65 million ADA delegated. So really excited about that and highly appreciate the community support. Thank you.
All right, very nice. So ADAO stake pool, that's going to be how you get those Summon tokens.
Right. And so for a while, right, there's been a lot of talk like ADAO, you know, it needs a stake pool. It's made up of all these different teams and builders. So this was also a chance to bootstrap that pool. So when the ISPO is over, we plan to continue, you know, operating this pool as ADAO. And hopefully my hope is that we'll see a vote or a proposal that you know, appoints, like I said, ADAO Foundation members who can do things like run a stake pool, pay for infrastructure. So that's something that's just amazing to see. And you know, why I think, you know, it's more than just an ISPO. So yeah, right now it is the ADAO ticker ADAO, and it's 99%. So users will be earning 1% of their normal ADA rewards and the rest in the Summon token.
Okay, so would delegators of the stake pool need to claim the tokens, or would it appear in their wallet after each epoch?
We've talked about this a bit, and dependent upon regulatory clarity, we may have to do this as an airdrop at the end of the ISPO. And if we are not bound to that from a regulatory standpoint, then we will likely be allowing people to claim at any time up to once every 5 days, with sort of an airdrop at the end, assuming that they don't claim or have tokens that are sitting there left over. But I'm not sure. Adam might have a statement about that from the regulatory side of things.
Yeah, like Riley said, we're still working out the exact details on the claim versus airdrop function. There's definitely going to be an airdrop at the end if you know people want to wait until the end to be airdropped. But we're working to make sure that if it's possible for people to come and claim, with the fact that this is a utility token, not a security token, we are going to make sure to offer that. It comes down to the fact that we've been having a lot of calls with regulatory experts in Switzerland about how can we make sure that we're following the laws of the jurisdiction, because that's where the association is established. The good news about Switzerland is it has some of the clearest regulatory guidelines available. and which makes it a very good place to have blockchain projects, which is why you see a lot there. That being said, this is still a gray area in a lot of ways because this technology moves faster than the legal community can keep up. Come to our website, keep an eye out. We will at the very least have a calculator so everybody can see how the calculator is going. You can see what rewards are adding up that are associated with your account. But we've had some really great input from our Swiss regulatory experts that having the ISPO is not a problem. We can absolutely do that and allow people to participate, and they won't be breaking security laws for Switzerland or anything like that. Obviously, I'll give my standard disclaimer. This is not financial advice, not legal advice. Consult your own advisors. But we feel very confident that for the association, we're doing the right thing, and we want to make sure we work to the highest standards.
I love it. Yep, got to throw in that disclaimer there. That's super important. But no, that's awesome. Thank you guys for the added information. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are wanting to know those things as it comes to participating. So that's great. It sounds like you guys have put a lot of thought into it. And then also taking a look, I know we're on Catalyst Fund 9. You guys do also have a few Catalyst proposals. If you did want to just let us know how the community can support you with those as well, I think that'd be great. I do see a couple of things here about the DAO education course, the RoundTable staking, Plutus token vesting, and then the ADAO open source. So would be great to support you guys in the Catalyst Fund 9 as well. Just tell us a little bit about your proposals.
Yeah, well, Fund 8 is really how we bootstrap this idea of the Summon Association. So in Fund 9, we're looking to do a lot more. Those proposals you mentioned are all proposals submitted from sub-DAOs, or what we call working groups within ADAO. And they all start with ADAO. So if you search the Catalyst app, ADAO, you can find them all very easily. Another great website I use is lidonation.com. A lot of people know Darlington. He's really active in Catalyst, and that website, lidonation.com, was actually built off of a Catalyst grant. So yeah, this round we have a total of 5 proposals, teaming up with people like Eric from ScatDAO, Lido, who I mentioned, a lot of other ecosystem builders to build things like a Dapp around the Fracada contracts. That's something we want to offer not only open source, but through Summon as well. Things like a Plutus vesting Dapps. All these teams give out tokens, right, for their developers and teams, and don't have an easy way to actually dynamically vest them. A lot of it's done by hand. So offering that, I think, is super valuable. And then, the other ones are the education proposal, working with people like David Baxter from Blockchain Learning Center, and then the ADAO open source and RoundTable, right? These are proposals to continue incentivizing the open source work, especially for dApps like RoundTable. Right now, staking from RoundTable multisig is dependent on a lot of upstream code changes, and people are busy. It's very difficult to get them to look up and do things like push code. So being able to incentivize this development with things other than just ADAO tokens and governance, but actual ADA, is really powerful. So yeah, we're really grateful for Catalyst and the community, and please support ADAO Catalyst Fund 9.
Yeah, and we definitely want to stress that these are ADAO projects, and while members of the Summon team will be working on them as well, and we definitely would plan to integrate some of these into Summon, these are going to be open for the community. These are open source projects that everybody will have access to, and we hope that more people will take up and push commits back to the ADAO repositories. We love seeing when people push commits to the ADAO repository, so we can see what the rest of the community thinks about these projects and how we can improve them.
Yeah, and something that's important to mention that I didn't touch on is any funds granted from Catalyst, when you submit a proposal, they ask for an address to send these funds. With ADAO proposals, all those funds go to the ADAO treasury, which is controlled by multiple ADAO members, right? Using a RoundTable. There's quite a few of throughout the DAO and these working groups, sub-DAOs, but they go to this main ADAO treasury. And then through the internal bounty system in ADAO, they're distributed to these contributors. So it's a really cool system, and it's open to everyone. So anybody who thinks they can benefit from any of these dApps, feedback, contributions, we encourage you to join the meetings, join the server, and get involved, because that's where these funds are meant to go.
All right, absolutely. Yeah, I know you guys definitely have my vote, and I will also be sure to leave the links for those proposals down in the description. So for anybody who does want to support ADAO or learn more about these proposals, definitely be sure to check out those links down in the description. Guys, lots of great information here in this conversation today. You know, one of the things that a lot of people are eagerly anticipating is the Vasil hard fork. You know, there's been a lot of patience from the community in terms of the developments with that. I wanted to ask you if there's anything that's specific about that upgrade that you guys are waiting on in terms of the launch of the ADAO or the Summon platform. A little bit more of a technical question, but I guess in terms of that network upgrade, you know, turning on a lot of things for Cardano as a whole, is there anything that you guys are waiting on with that upgrade to be able to launch these projects?
We are not waiting on anything. We are definitely excited about some of the features coming with Vasil. We don't need those features in order to launch the platform, but they are definitely going to enable us to add new functionality that cannot be added without Vasil. So it's going to be great to have the hard fork, and we're going to see a lot of improvements within the Summon platform. Most of them won't be able to be noticed by users except for very slightly, but it will also be something that enables the future of the Summon platform, including things like those automated risk mitigating strategies that I had mentioned. For those, we definitely need Vasil, and I'm, like I said, super excited about the impacts it'll bring. But even now, not having Vasil, there's plenty to do, plenty of work to get done. And so from my perspective, I'm in no rush to see it happen, but I am very excited.
Awesome. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, guys. I feel like a lot of things, especially as we get closer towards the end of the year, are really going to start heating up. Everything's going to start turning on, and I'm looking forward to see your guys' progress, definitely with both projects, with the Summon platform and with ADAO, also your ISPO, these Catalyst proposals. You guys definitely have had your head to the grindstones, you know, just thinking about all these different things, and it's really exciting to see what you're building.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks again for having us. It's been really great to be on here and chat with you about all of it. I hope that, you know, I don't know if we mentioned actually, since this is kind of nearing the end, but we do have our early access event for the Summon token sale going on this coming Monday, August 15th. And so anybody who holds at least one LQ token, one MinSwap token, or one ADAO token will be able to come and participate in that early access event. Just, yeah, good piece of relevant info. And we'll have more rounds of the public sale as time goes on. Like I said, this is our early access event.
Okay. I'm sure we'll try and get this information out as soon as we can for people who want to participate. So would they need to, so like you have to hold one of these specific tokens. So you said Min, LQ, or the ADAO token, right?
Yep, and the way that works is it actually has to be in your wallet at the time of purchase. You could go sell it right after if you wanted to. The whitelist works off of the smart contract. So it's all smart contract based, and that'll be open source shortly prior to the sale going live. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, guys, keep an eye up for that if you're interested in participating in that whitelist. Yeah, that's exciting, guys. Lots coming up. Before we sign off for today, everybody, I just wanted to leave the floor open up to you. any final thoughts for our audience today? Also, where can they go to find out more about ADAO and the Summon platform? Yeah, any final thoughts today, guys?
Yeah, thanks. Just want to say it's been just such an honor to work with everybody at ADAO and the Summon platform team. We have such a wide variety of people from all walks of life that if you're interested in these kinds of decentralized tools, decentralized governance and coordination, come check it out. You might find a home with us too. You can find ADAO at theadao.io, theadao.io. And you can find Summon Platform at summonplatform.io. I'm sure they'll be in the show notes. So come check out our websites. We've got links to our Discord from there, links to our GitHub repositories, everything you need.
Yep. And I would just, again, encourage everyone to go to the summonplatform.io website, read the blog posts. There's some amazing blog posts from us, the actual builders and developers of this, and other people in ADAO, really going over all these details. And join the Discord. Like I said, the ADAO Discord and the Summon Discord are just amazing. They're in a place where you're encouraged to share ideas, give feedback, and actually help build these projects. So I hope to see a lot of people in there and continuing to join and provide this value.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you, KAIZN, and for providing this opportunity to us, and thank you to the Cardano community, and for whether you're an investment group trying to manage your treasury for yield opportunities, or a guild kind of building in the clavers, through these collaborative economies that are going to be co-creating together, or even a decentralized kind of a community catalyst innovation fund. We want to be able to provide an operating system of tools and integrations for decentralized coordination, governance, and treasury management. And we want to do this not only to build on Cardano, but to build for the Cardano community. So yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. My pleasure, guys. All right, everybody. Well, I really do appreciate you all watching. Hopefully you did find some value from this interview today. Again, please be sure to check out those links down in the description if you want to support ADAO as well as the Summon platform. I thank you so much again for watching, everyone, and we will see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.